Jermaine Griggs here.
I'm Brian Hall.
And welcome back to Musician Xplosion. You know, Brian, I'm so excited about this project, not just because we brought together the most musicians we've ever done and where they've come from and how we put this thing together, but the most styles, the most keys. It's pretty much the most of the most of the most.
Of everything.
What would you say?
Well, I'm really excited about this project because like I was telling you off camera, you know, I'm amazed but not surprised at the caliber of musicians that we've been able to compile for this project. Absolutely. I mean, JP always gets the best of the best around. And I'm talking about not just the best and the best on the West Coast, even though they tend to be from that region. It's the best in the country and maybe even in the world. So you have a compilation of 10 of the best teachers you're ever gonna see, the 10 of the best players you're ever gonna hear in one place. Sorry about that. Puberty. Go ahead.
And not just the best of the best musicians, but we're talking specifically about gospel and church music, because there's a lot of musicians out there, but there are not a lot of musicians that have the ability to survive a church service, to extend to levels that are unparalleled and uncomparable, or incomparable, if you will, right?
Right.
So these are people like Jeff Siribanen, or he goes as Yellow Chops online, and he's just amazing. You got people like
Aisha Love,
absolutely.
Who represents a demographic and a background that we've never seen on any of the choruses that we've released in the past, which is definitely something brand new that I think a lot of the viewers are really gonna enjoy.
Absolutely. Casey Knight, who plays for one of the biggest mega churches in Los Angeles. I mean, when your church takes over where the Lakers used to play, you're doing something right. And you got Julio Martinez, who comes from a CCM, or a contemporary Christian music background. So he brings a totally different flavor to the table.
Right, and that's really important because we've actually had questions in the past with our prior projects where they really enjoyed the material, they really learned a lot, but they said, well, I love what you're doing, but do you have any contemporary Christian? You know, people, there's a little fine line between the diehard gospel and then the contemporary Christian. Though they sound similar, they do have ingredients that make them different. And so in this course, in this project, you're gonna get that 100%.
Absolutely, because gospel music is evolving and it changes over time. And you definitely want to keep up with where gospel music is going. You got Professor Matt Falker, who really gets into the musicianship of it, also brings a real contemporary Christian music flavor.
Delvin Broomfield, who's a really talented piano player, young, up and coming, really knows his stuff. He's gonna show you a lot.
You got Krista Smith. Now, a lot of people in the past said, all your musicians are guys. And in this collection, we really wanted to shake things up. So Aisha Love, not only her, but Krista Smith, who's been on the scene for a long time and just brings a lot of wisdom, has been playing for decades, and she really breaks things down for us.
Right. We also have Leonard Ray, who just recently played on Israel's last album, and he's played for countless numbers of artists over his career as well. So he's really gonna bring that professional flavor, or that professional flavor, to the table.
As do all of these musicians, pretty much.
Exactly.
Been on tour with everyone. And then we've got our tenured faculty. You know,
right.
People like Jason Freeman, who he's no stranger to hear him play. Got David
Jackson,
who's just a beast on the piano, the organ, and just very spiritual, ministry-minded musician. So by now, you've already had a taste of many of the musicians, and over the coming days and weeks, we'll be releasing more and more clips so that by the end of it, you've got a chance to really get an intimate, step-by-step, over-the-shoulder look at how each one of them teaches, how each one of them performs.
And I've had a sneak peek, a little bit of a behind-the-curtain approach, and you definitely want to see these clips because they are amazing.
In fact, on this page, we've already got some new clips for you. So lock yourself in a room. Sorry, but kick the kids out. Give them to a spouse, loved one. Get focused. Get on this page, engage, leave us your feedback, right?
Right, yeah, we want to hear from you. I hear from you every day on the phone, so you're no stranger to me. Go ahead and put your comments down in the blank below.
And most importantly, enjoy. I'm Jermaine Griggs.
And I'm Brian Hall.
And remember, if you can hear it,
you can play it.
Preacher's getting warmed up. So I'm going to take you through some of the standard stuff we would do. And I'll show you some fancy stuff in a minute. Okay, we're going to do the standard walk up to the 3. Go into the 4. Sharp 4. To the 5. We might do that a bunch of times. 3, 4. Sharp 4. If we really want to build some tension, we'll sit here on this for a while. To the 5. Now I'm playing this 5. It's really going to set up the 1. We're going to play the 1 5 times. Here we go. All right, there we go. So we want to walk through this whole section and show you how to really play behind a preacher. Again, my name is Matt. We're just having some fun here, trying some different things. We're going to be in the key of E flat. Now, we all know preachers are going to go through a whole bunch of different keys. But we're just going to sit in one key for right now and use this as an example for some of the different options that you have when you get there. First and foremost, there are a bunch of different styles to do this, but you have to remember, first and foremost, your goal is to make the preacher comfortable. And the biggest thing that you can do to make your preacher uncomfortable is to have there be any lack of clarity in what the key is. So in almost anything I do, if we're in the key of E flat, you're going to see me through this whole segment. I'm going to have lots of E flats. Now there's a bunch of different chords I can play under that E flat. And I'm going to break down some of those for you. But you have to be careful to not get so complicated that you lose that melody, and then you might see the preacher floating all the way around here. So one of the things that we want to do, for the most part, we want to stay around the 1, especially as we're just kind of getting warmed up. If I'm leaving this on the piano, then I really am just going to start with a couple of basic short hits, and they're all going to be on the 1 chord. Once I've found that preacher's key, I'm really starting with my basic E flat chord. So I've got the E flat, the B flat, the G, and really importantly, I need that C sharp in there, the 7th. And I can take the inside notes and bring them down a half step. So I'm playing the C, F sharp, and A. That gives you that diminished sound. Back to the 1, and I'm doing the diminished. So that's my main go-between if I just want to kind of sit on 1 chord. This builds some tension, this releases it and just puts them right there in the key. So I might play some sporadic hits. And again, that's another version of that, where in my left hand I'm doing the F sharp and the C, and then bringing that up to the G and the C sharp and resolving it from there. Again, I'm going to play a lot of single notes on top so that the key is there. I'm going to play some what I call blues licks, and I've explained the blues scale in a couple of other segments, but if we're here in E flat, it's actually really easy to see on the keyboard because it's all of the black keys plus the note A. So I'm going to show you. We're on E flat, then we're on F sharp, A flat. We catch the A in the middle, which is the sharp 4, B flat, C sharp, and E flat. So you really have lots of options. That's all in that same scale. A lot of times, again, I want to sit with that root note on top. Oh, so the preacher can be up there on that note and feel that. So that's some options for melodic fills. So let's talk about what kind of chords we can get going here. The main one that I was showing you with the guys is that, again, I'm still on that 1 chord in the right hand, G, B flat, and E flat, maybe the F on there, but the bass player's on that 3. And then from here, we're going to go to the 4 chord. 4 chord needs to have the F sharp in it so that it has that dominant feel. Whenever you play a dominant chord, you're playing something that's really dissonant, and that dissonance creates tension that's going to be resolved. So I'm sitting here, and that's exactly what the preacher is doing. He's building, building, building tension. Then I go to the sharp 4, this A chord, and this A chord is fully diminished, and that's because there's 3 half steps between every single note, from the A to the C to the E flat, and the E flat to the F sharp. When you hear that chord, you hear how tense that is, especially in comparison to a major chord. So let me rewind that all together. Here's my basic 1 chord, diminished chord below it, and come back to the 1. My basic walk up stays with the 1, but it has a 3 in the bass. To the 4, that's a dominant chord, that's got to have the F sharp in there in this key. Then to that sharp 4 diminished, and I can play around that. Do all sorts of things around that. Then I want to get to the 5 chord. The 5 chord is always going to be the next to last chord before we do the 1. There's a couple of different ways to play the 5 chord. The first one is to really going to be play it like a minor. So I'm going to have my B flat, some sort of, well, I would call it D flat because this is a flat chord. I'm going to use the flat name for it. You might call it C sharp. But I kind of want this in here. Maybe I'm going to have the A flat in there. So 3, 4, sharp 4. Now I'm going to go to that B flat minor. So I've got the A flat, I've got the C sharp in there. Remember, I want that E flat on top still. So let me take that up. So I've got my A flat, D flat, E flat, and I'm actually doubling those in my right hand with a little bit of an F. So it gives some power to that up there because it's the next to last chord. From here, I'm probably going to take it back to the 1, and I'm using the standard voicing for the E flat here with the 3rd and the 7th, and fill it in with the F and the B flat in the E flat. But a lot of times what happens, 3 to the 4, to the sharp 4, to this 5 minor, that actually can loop right back around to the 3. Again to the 4, sharp 4, and to the, when I do that 5, this 5 with the minor wants to take me back to 3, wants to take me to some other places. If I'm getting ready to close this segment out and I want to go to that 1 chord, or I just want to take it back home, then I'm going to use a different 5 chord. So here I am on my sharp 4, on my A diminished. Here, I'm going to make sure that I have a D natural in this chord, as well as a C sharp or a D flat. So you hear already, just by me playing 4 of the notes, how dissonant that is. The reason I'm playing that is because the D creates tension and wants to go to the E flat, so that chord really wants to resolve. 3, 4, sharp 4. Now here's my 5. This is a dominant with the C sharp on top, which gives it a real bite. I can extend that up and play C sharp and an F sharp and a B flat on there. This chord needs to go to the 1 chord from there. So there's a couple different 5 chords that you can play to get around. That's your basic turnaround, walk around that you can use. You notice most of the time I'm filling in the chords. You certainly can do it where you're just punching in between the breaks of the preacher. Depending on the style of the preacher, how fast his patter is, how slow the patter is. So you really have some options, and the preacher will tell you, if he wants you to kind of shape it a different way for him. If it's a preacher that needs some help really staying in the key, you're really going to want to stay on that tonic. And you notice I'm holding it, but I'm filling in the notes in between. And then I'm going to take this home. Another voicing I like to use for this 1 chord is to get the C sharp or the D flat in here, get the G, but also add the C in here right below the E flat.
All right, musician Xplosion, we're in the praise section. We're in the key of G. For the key of G, I wanted to pick something a little more melodic, so I chose I Love the Lord, and I Won't Take It Back, and I Love Jesus, and He Loves Me. Congregational, traditional type songs in the key of G. All right, here we go. So we'll go through the scale by letter. We have G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. And for the number system, which will help you with progressions, the G would be 1, A would be 2, B would be 3, C would be 4, D would be 5, E would be 6, F sharp would be 7, and G would be 8 or back to 1. All right? That's the number system. Okay, so for the first part of that medley, we have I Love Jesus. It starts off on the 1. So the bass player will probably do a simple run. I love Jesus. He's my Savior. So we'll start there on the 1. So you got I love Jesus. So my left hand, I'm just adding the middle note of my chord. All right? So left hand, B, C. Right hand, E, A, D, G. All right? So we start off with the I love Jesus. All right? So He's my Savior. Same thing, or you could change the octave. All right? Next part, when storms are raging on the 5. So the bass player, when storms are raging. So that's a slide. In the left hand, we have an F to an F sharp. In the right hand, we have a B, a D flat or D sharp, sorry, G sharp, and a slide to C, E, and A. All right, F sharp in the bass. And that's over, again, the 5. Storms are raging. In the pass, over the 3. He's my shelter. So that's a 3, 6. And in the chords, we'll play, left hand would be D sharp, A, D, G. Okay? He's my shelter. So that's a D in the left hand, a G, and then an E in the right hand, and a B. All right? And the next part, where He leads me, is on the 4. So the note will be C. All right? And that's going to be a C chord. We'll do the left hand with a C. We'll do the right hand G and the E. Where He leads me. And then we'll pass over the C sharp diminished. So the bass note will be the C sharp. Left hand chord would be an E, a G, A sharp, a C sharp, an E, and an A. All right, that's the pass over to I Will Follow, which would be a D or the 5 in the bass line, and it'll be the G chord. We'll put the D in the left hand. We'll put a B and a G in the right hand. Then we'll do another diminished pass over D sharp. All right, we got a D sharp in the left hand, a A, a C, a D sharp, and an F sharp in the right hand. We're passing to the 6. All right? So there's going to be an E in the bass, and we'll do a D just to add color in the left hand. We'll do a B, a E, and a G in the right hand. All right? With the E bass. All right? And then we have the walk up. You got to know the church walk up. All right? So that's a walk up from B, C, C sharp, D. And so the chord, we'll just use it in the right hand. We'll use the G, G, B, D, G, right? So over the B. Then with the next chord is a C major, G, C, E, G. And we do a diminish over the C sharp. It's similar to the one we already did. The G, the A sharp, the C sharp, the E, and the G. And back to a G major chord. All right? G, B, D, G. And then we'll pass on the 6. All right, so that's the 6 is E in the bass line. Left hand, we got a D, we got a G sharp, we got C, we got a D, and we have a G. All right, that's our passing chord. Then we'll do a diminish over the A. All right, so we have the A bass. The right hand would be G, A sharp, C sharp, E, G, and we'll do a C over D for the next pass. And he loves is the phrase, D in the bass. We have a C major chord. We can do it here. G, C, E, G. The low G in the left hand, and then back to me, G. All right, bass note G, G major chord, G, B, D, G. All right, and that's the whole first part of that medley. All right, now that we established the foundation for I Love Jesus, I'll show you some movements that we can use when you're playing with the bass player on top of the foundation that we established. All right. So we got the first part, over the 1. So I showed you the first move, I love Jesus. The next thing we'll just add an accent, kind of like an answer to what we play. So I love Jesus. That's a A to G in the left hand. That's a E, C, and a D, B in the right hand. So we got octave down. All right. So I love Jesus. Now the next pass I'll add is a transition. So we'll do the G sharp to the A, C sharp to the D. So I love Jesus. He's my Savior. All right, that's the move right there. So the chord would be in the left hand, we got the C to C sharp. All right. And in the right hand, we got the F sharp, the D sharp to E, right? All right. That's the bass. And then the next change, left hand is going to be the F to F sharp. Right hand is going to be a B and a G sharp to C and A. All right, so that whole move. All right. So. Okay. And then the next pass, got that. All right. So that's the same chord we showed you. The 3 to the 6 change. Then I added a little run. All right. So the left hand is the foundation of that. So we got an F, B, E. The next chord is E, A sharp, D. All right. And that's over the 1 to the 6. All right. Now let's get that run. All right. So we got the E at the top in the right hand. All right. So it's kind of like a little trill, or A and a B. The next one. All right. That's an A sharp, back to A, and G. So, and then an A and a G. So, all right. It's where he leads me. All right. So that's a move over the C sharp diminished. It's gonna be a slide. So it'll be a D to C sharp. And then that's in the left hand. In the right hand, we got a G sharp and an F to E. All right, that's our diminished chord. And we got, all right, I will follow. So D in the left hand, B and a G in the right hand. I will fly. A C in the left hand, an A and an E in the right hand. Fly low. B in the left hand, a right hand, a G and a C. All right, I will fly low. And then we do another diminished over the E flat, over the D sharp or a B. Either one. All right, left hand, D sharp, right hand, A, and F sharp. All right, left hand, D, right hand, B, and a G. And that's over the 6. All right? And then the walk up. And I'm going to do a different walk up. I showed you this one. So another one we could do is a walk down over the same bass note. All right? So, all right. Try to do 2 things at once. So the walk down would be in the left hand, you got F, E, D sharp, and D. All right? And in the right hand, you holding these 2 G's. And you're going to walk down the D, C sharp, B, C, and B, all right? And that's over the walk up. And the next one, that's the pass over the 6, over E. All right? So that first one, that's going to be a D in the left hand, an A sharp. A right hand is going to be an F, A sharp, a G sharp, sorry, and a D. We'll move that top note, so E, D. All right, D, a G sharp, F, a G sharp, a D. All right, then over to 2, we got a G in the left hand, we got a C sharp and a A sharp in the right hand, and a slide down to a F sharp in the left hand, a C and an A in the right hand. And then back to the top, a D in the left hand, a B, and a G in the right hand over the D. All right? Okay, so that was I Love Jesus. That's the first song in the medley that we're doing in the praise section in G. The second part of that is I Love the Lord and I Won't Take It Back. So I'm using those 2 songs together. They flow together very well. They have a common subject. So we did, like I said, I Love Jesus, and now we'll do I Love the Lord. And I won't take it back. Here we go.